Hey everybody! Today I wanted to chat with you about some of the fragrances that are designed and marketed towards males, but I think are totally unisex and are worthwhile to check out and sniff out in the store, see if you like them. So three of these fragrances are really my husband's fragrances that I use occasionally, and two of these fragrances are my fragrances that he uses occasionally. So we have a bit of a migration of fragrance. I have to preface it by the small disclaimer that I think it's totally fine to wear whatever fragrance you like. I think this male-female division is absolutely arbitrary. It doesn't really mean anything. It's just who do they decide to try and sell it to, what kind of ads they're going to put up. So I think any scent that works well with your skin chemistry is your scent, and you go for it and you sniff it out. Do not neglect men's fragrances because some of them are very, very unisex. If you take away the marketing, you take away the packaging, and you just sniff the scent for what it is, you're going to not be able to really tell whether it's designed for males or designed for females. Or perhaps you're going to be able to tell, but you're not going to care because maybe you like this fragrance and maybe you think it works well with you and reflects your personality. Sometimes I like going for something unconventional like a male fragrance for me. Why? Because I'm not a huge necessarily fan of very sweet, very girly sort of fruit chewies and sugar bombs. It's not necessarily what I like all the time. Sometimes I do succumb to that, but actually, most of the time I don't. And most of the time I will wear something that makes me feel more pulled together, more, a grown woman rather than a fluff cloud. Nothing wrong with a fluff cloud. I do enjoy fluffy perfumes, but for everyday use, I prefer not to do that. So the three fragrances that I will start with are my husband's fragrances that I will use sometimes. First one is YSL L'Homme, and this is a very, very elegant choice. Now, why do I think that it is suitable to wear during daytime by me? Is because this fragrance is a floral tobacco. It is cozy as hell. It is very, very interesting. It develops well on skin. It starts off as a bit of a flowery concoction and develops further into quite a sophisticated tobacco floral. This is very sophisticated. The sophistication of this fragrance is unmistakable. I think they made it intentionally unisex for males because there is a bit of a trend with that right now, that the male fragrances are a little bit less brutal and a little bit more elegant. This is a man in a suit, perhaps business casual. This is definitely not a guy in a t-shirt and jeans, and probably this is not the guy working on his motorcycle and in his Doc Martens. Very elegant, very sophisticated, somewhat of an upscale scent. A little bit stuffy, I would say. And stuffy not in terms of the scent, but in terms of a feeling it evokes. It's a little bit uppity, which I like. So this slight tobacco fragrance is somewhere between true tobacco and cigarette. It gives it a bit of it gives the fragrance a bit of an edge. It's otherwise a very, very soft fragrance, very cuddly, gentle fragrance, but this a bit of a cigarette-y touch. It kind of pushes it over towards the edgy direction. It is a sort of fragrance that has its own mind. It's not a follower, it is a leader, but it is a quiet leader, and perhaps a loner. Person who wears this reads world literature. Next one I'd like to mention is a very cute bottle. It's Lolita Lempicka en Masculin. It looks like this. It's a matte, very comfortable actually to hold bottle, a bit whimsical, a bit of a woody reference in the cap. There is no cap that gets removed. It is a sprayer nozzle. It's very nice to hold. I really like the feel of this fragrance. However, it looks significantly cheaper and less serious and it smells slightly cheaper and less serious than Yves Saint Laurent. This is also a floral tobacco. Here, the tobacco is a lot more nebulous. It's less literal and more sort of the idea of tobacco. It is proverbial. The sweetness of this fragrance is really quite cuddly. It is a come hither scent. If you're a guy, it is, I think, suitable for dates. It's not very aloof, but rather cheeky and, you know, has dimples when it smiles and will run around and play in the mud with you kind of fragrance. The florals here are purple florals. There is very definitely some kind of a link, probably with the anise and a bit of licorice, I would guess, with Lolita Lempicka for women, which I adore. I love that fragrance. I think it's very, very special and very, very well made. So En Masculin, I think, is also not quite as well made, but very interesting and fun. The longevity is decent. The projection is kind of average. I know I have the pre-reformulation bottle, I think. And from what I understand, the reformulated fragrance is not as long lasting, unfortunately. But this guy is just, you know, fun and lovely and chill. It's kind of relaxed and laid back. So this guy, I think, is a good choice if you're not all that serious and if you don't wear, you know, tie daily. Next fragrance is more of a whimsical and much more of a unisex fragrance than the previous two. So this is Versace the Dreamer. Look at the cute bottle on this. It's also sort of a sprayer nozzle. You don't have a cap to take off. It has the wave pattern, very Grecian wave pattern up top, and here's the famous Medusa. The Medusa is matte glass. So this is actually a very comfortable fragrance. It's not too heavy. You can toss it into your purse. However, you won't need to because this guy has amazing longevity. Also, I'm not sure after the formulation how this changed. You might want to check your, you know, the code that's printed on the bottle and see what people say about that particular batch. But mine is actually very long lasting. This is more on the floral side and less on the tobacco side. As you can see, floral tobacco is what I like in a fragrance when it comes to male fragrances. So this guy is a lot more, this guy is very floral, and the tobacco in the background is a bit more abstract. It's much more of a pipe tobacco rather than a cigarette tobacco, but not the dusty and vintage kind. I would say this is quite modern, and it's for a daring kind of guy because there are a lot of flowers in here, but I do think it's very flattering. I think women are going to love this on a man, and I think women are going to love this on women too. It's not a tasty fragrance, but it does smell quite a lot more expensive than it is. The quality of the fragrance is decent. I wouldn't say it's stellar. And the scent is quite interesting. Again, if you're a fan of florals, especially purple florals, you should probably pay attention to this one. It is quite interesting. It's very pleasant. It's very pleasing, and the longevity is very good. However, I don't think it's the most unique or out there fragrance. No, absolutely not. It's quite palatable. Next, we have a true masterpiece. Can I just mention Dior Homme? Yes, yes. This is very, very, very special. I think this composition, as well as Dior Homme Intense, which I also have smelt and possibly will buy, is magic. I think this is a true genius, niche quality fragrance that is absolutely unisex and will absolutely be wearable by everyone. So what is the big deal about this one? This is very, very interesting. Look at the bottle. It's very, very, the bottle is very geometric, very sharp edged, and sort of modernist. The scent is different. I don't think the bottle matches what the scent is all about. So let's talk about the scent itself. This is, in short, if I can describe it, an expensive leather bag, an expensive lipstick inside that expensive leather bag, and all of it while you're drinking bitter hot chocolate. Very, very interesting combination, not at all expected, where you have these very cold, aloof, iris-based, sophisticated purple florals with a somewhat of a powdery lipstick edge. Very intellectual, very sort of withdrawn, kind of minimalistic, and at the same time very personable. This fragrance, I think, is intellectual. Absolutely, it's a very intellectual fragrance. All of this with a bit of a old books, old library sort of scent. Very slight hint of it. And the base is an extremely sensual, somewhat of a coffee and somewhat of a very bitter dark chocolate scent. All of this together creates an absolutely incredible combination that I have never smelled anything similar to. I think this is very unique, and I've smelled a lot of fragrances. I own a lot of fragrances. Let me assure you that it's not easy to find something that echoes this guy. So yes, it is a floral. And if you have something against iris, beware. Iris is very prominent player in this fragrance. It's very irisy, and it's like iris root, not abstract powdery iris. No talcum in here. It is rather very, very much a vintage makeup scent, with a bit of a vintage leather, worn in leather scent, sort of giving it a bit of a raw edge. Very introspective fragrance. I think it's quite special. I think it's very intellectual. I think it gets you together and focuses you very well. Some fragrances do that for me, and that's the kind I like to wear for work. Now this is, to me, very, very close in quality to premium niche fragrances. I think it's very special. I think you have to try it and really give it a chance. Give it a chance to play on the skin. It is by no means the most palatable scent ever. I think it is a scent you need to live with and think about for a bit until you really, really get it. It took me a while to get it, but now I'm absolutely in love. I think this is an incredibly special little guy. And for men, I think it's a very, very attractive scent. It is a quiet alpha male that nobody knows is an alpha male. He's just doing his thing kind of scent. And I think for a woman, it's about the same. The last one I'm going to talk about today is a very, very fun fragrance. Again, this is Spicebomb by Viktor and Rolf. You might be familiar with a female version of it, which is Flower Bomb by Viktor and Rolf, which used to be very, very popular previously. Still, a lot of people like it. It is a fruit chewy. Now, this has nothing to do with that at all. Not even a little bit. Not even close. Who is this for? I would say it is for absolutely everybody. It's such a fun fragrance. I don't think it's very serious. Now look at the packaging of it. I think packaging of it really tells you that it's not super serious, because you can see the the effort that went into the design. It is a, you know, grenade with the little ring that you can pull off and then use it. It's adorable. It's cute. I don't think it's necessarily going to, you know, really decorate your vanity or whatever, but I think the scent inside is fun. Really, really nice. Pretty good quality. Sweet, slightly spicy, cinnamony pie sort of story going on here. And a bit of cherry tobacco kind of lurking in the background, making its entrance. This is a scent that is very Christmassy to me. Why? Because there's a bit of mulled wine in there with all the cloves and cinnamon. There's a little bit of pie in there somewhere, a bit soft and sweet at the same time. Quite a sharp note of tobacco. It's probably Grandpa somewhere in his rocking chair, rocking back and forth, telling his nonsensical stories that happened 75 years ago to him. Or how maybe he's telling you how things were different when he was the youngster. And he's rocking back and forth, and he's stuffing his old wooden pipe with a cherry tobacco. It's definitely a fruity kind of tobacco. This is not a hardcore back of the throat kind of tobacco. This is a very fruity, harmless tobacco that he's not really allowed to smoke inside, but since it's Christmas, Grandma's okay with it. And there's some kind of a kitchen spice rack here a little bit. Yes, what a find. I think it's adorable. It's really cute. Very happy fragrance. It's not really serious. It's wonderful for winter. It lives very well in cold weather. It does hang on. It's not super complicated, and it's not going to unfold into an intellectual decode sort of a brain screw that is the Dior home, which is, again, lovely. But this is much simpler and cozy and fun. It's warm socks and Christmas party with your folks, and maybe a crazy aunt is there too. Anyway, this is really fun and really happy. I think if you're a woman, you can definitely pull it off without any question. I don't think people will, smelling you, think, oh, how interesting, she's wearing a male fragrance. How daring of her. No, I think it's going to pass as just, you know, a nice fragrance. Really for anybody. I think men really like wearing it because it has a pretty decent following within the male clientele. My husband really liked this scent for himself. He enjoys it on me. It's just a fun, easygoing scent. That's it for today. I hope you have a good day. Bye-bye.